All right, according to John Heyman, the Padres, they're showing interest in Nelson Cruz. What would this do for the Padres? I think he'd be the DH. He'd be getting at bats. Maybe not the full-time DH because Matt Carpenter's on the roster, but on opening day, you'd be probably looking at a lineup that had Nelson Cruz as the DH, Matt Carpenter in left field because he's a better offensive option than Adam Engel. Or the Padres could be discussing this move because there's a trade in the works. Maybe Ha-Sung Kim gets dealt somewhere like Miami or Boston or somewhere else for starting pitching, young, controllable starting pitching. And then Crony gets moved over to second base. You have Matt Carpenter go from DH to first base. You have Nelson Cruz come in, sign as a DH. Then you have Soto, Grisham, Tatis in the outfield when Tatis returns. So maybe that's what's happening. So maybe this is a deal that only occurs if the Padres trade a position player. So we'll see. As for Nelson Cruz possibly playing a position, I tweeted that out when the John Heyman tweet came down earlier this afternoon. Yeah, could Cruz play the outfield if necessary? And people were like, "Yeah, sure." Uh, with with um, with a walking, uh, what are those things called? A cane. Yeah. So I don't see him playing the outfield. I looked on his game logs. He has not played the outfield for like 3 years at least. I went all the way back to 2019 and he played some games at first, but he's not playing the outfield anymore. That was like way back in his Texas Rangers days. So that doesn't seem like an option. First base, I guess, could be an option. Now, for the clubhouse, we know this would be a good addition to the clubhouse. Manny Machado loves this guy. Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis Jr., they love Nelson Cruz. At least that's what we've seen publicly. Last season, this was from March. So in spring training, Manny Machado was asked about Nelson Cruz, and he said, quote, "Oh man, I was pulling for him here. I wanted him bad here." End quote. That's referring to last year. Remember the Padres, they were a finalist for Nelson Cruz. It was the Padres, it was the Dodgers, and then he ended up signing with the Nationals. So the Nationals must have jumped in there. I don't remember the specific details about that, but he went 1 year to the Nats. He only DH last year. I was surprised that the Nationals didn't trade him at the deadline or before the trade deadline because he had no use of being with the Nationals except helping out young guys, I guess, or just being a filler in the lineup for the rest of the season. But they did not trade him. And so Nelson Cruz, I don't think he'd cost a whole lot. Manny last year said he would have loved to have Cruz in the Padres lineup hitting behind he and Tatis. He wants to play into his 40s. Manny does. And part of that is because he's seen what Nelson Cruz has done, and he kind of wants to do that, saying Nelson works his ass off. So the work ethic is there. He's a good clubhouse guy. That's what it seems like. He'll be entering his age 42 season, so I wouldn't expect a bunch from him. He might not be the best DH option if we're being honest with ourselves because of his age. The power is not what it used to be, but I mean, he did hit a bomb, I believe, off the Padres at Petco Park against the Padres, obviously, when he was with the Nationals last year. I think it was off Shamanaya. That ball was crushed. So he still does have the power, but you know the speed. He doesn't have speed. He's not someone that goes and plays defensive positions, so he would be limited. But I don't think it would be the worst addition in the world. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on a possible Nelson Cruz addition.